spotted thing that's breathing down there in the thick grass. And she has managed to make herself a little kill here on Chitwa Chitwa. She killed a young bushbuck this morning, and Tlalamba is also in the area. So we're going to try our best to get some better visuals on her, but we're just starting here for the moment. You can see how she's panting. She's probably had quite a bit to eat already. We have spotted the little young cub Tlalamba in the thicket as well. But she's hiding herself for now just next to where the little bushbuck is. That is now dead and having been fed on. So there is Thandi. It's been a while since I've caught up with her, so I am very happy. And I think we'll spend a little bit of time here. Then in a moment, we'll try and get a view on little Tlalamba. We'll go down and visit the waterhole at Chitwa Chitwa. And then maybe return a bit later when it's cooled down a bit and she might show herself a bit better. But wonderful that we've been able to catch up with her again. The beautiful daughter of Karula and either Mfufunyan or Jordan, the male, not quite sure which exact of the two was the father, but she was born in December of 2006, so she's a good old age, is Thandi, and had a couple of sets of cubs, to name a few being Kuchava, Tamba, and now Tlalamba, the little female cub that was born in November last year. So quite a successful mother has she been, the beautiful Thandi. Very traditional Xhosa, Zulu and Shangaan name, local name for girls here in South Africa. And it's one of those names like a Richard or a Robert, if you would say, in English. Thandi, a very classic Zulu, Xhosa, Shangaan name. So she is one of those classic leopard females. The beautiful little Tlalamba. Look at that. Speaking of cuteness, well, you wouldn't be far wrong if you said that a baby leopard is one of the cutest animals around. I would have to, it's a close tie for me for first place, baby leopards and baby elephants. That would have to be my favorite. I do tend to lean towards elephants just because of my extensive experience with them. But, well, looking at this little girl, how could I not say that they're up there? Definitely. She's obviously had a little bit of a feed on this young bushbuck that Thandi expertly killed this morning. And as I was saying a little bit earlier, I wonder if she brought Tlalamba with her for the kill, or if once she made the kill, she went and fetched her. That I don't know. But they're both now sitting quite deep in the grass, and it is amazing how well they blend in. And you see little Tlalamba just keeps still in the grass there. Oh, as she moves her head to the side. What are you thinking, little girl? Eh? She's very pretty, and you can see that very cub-like fur. Ashley, you are very right, eh? She's a very pretty girl. She's just slinking now through the grass. I wonder what she's up to. Going deeper in there. She doesn't want to be seen. She's going leopard crawl, the leopard walk, very low to the ground, keeping inconspicuous. But there we get a nice view on her, that very characteristic white tip on the end of the tail. I think she's going round towards Thandi. She probably wants to see Mum. So, there's a resident here too. So, well, I think in a little bit I'm going to start up and head back and see if Thandi and Tlalamba are getting active. And so I think our time here by the waterhole is now coming to an end, but what a time it has been. And while I start up and head that way, I think I'm going to head you back over to... Oh, no, let's hang on here. Is he going to catch something? Oh, my word. He got it. And I was just about to start up. I can't believe it. He's obviously... I think it's a little tilapia that he's got. Now, let's see if we can see it actually picking it away. You see, he's got it in his talons there. There we go. We didn't see the heron make a kill, but we've just watched the fish eagle catch a fish. That's awesome. It's a very small fish, but it's a fish. Was a minute ago feeding on the carcass. She's still very deep inside there now. She's doing a little bit of grooming. And it seems like little Tlalamba was trying her luck at a bit of hunting. She was trying to stalk a little steenbok. I don't think she was successful, but she's not far from us. And there we go. Thandi's now picking up a bit of the meat from that young bushbuck that she has killed. It looked like she was lying right on top of it. There she goes. Starts picking it up a bit. She's doing a little bit of contact calling. Seems like she may be calling the little cub now. So if we're patient here, we might see it coming towards us, because I'm sure even that little call that she did would have been heard. But yep, here she comes. There she is. She's going to make her way just in front of us now. I'm going to keep my head out of the way. And there she is. It looks like she's dragging it out a little bit. And little Tlalamba has responded to Mommy's little contact call. She went off to go try her luck at hunting. And now, in true leopard cub fashion, she's making her way nice and slowly through the thickets, a little bit out into the open, but very quiet. See the fat belly, hey? Hello, little one. Thank you for showing yourself. Beautiful. So it looks like it was a good move to come back and have a look here. And Mommy's calling her now. So I'm just going to keep quiet because she's moving just in front of the vehicle. And I don't want to scare her. And Mommy is still doing little contact calls. Calling her, maybe saying, come on. She's taking off. Oh, Tlalamba's taken the food and run off with it. She's gaining in confidence, I must say. She's literally gone against Mommy's will there, and she's stolen the meat for herself. Good on you, Tlalamba. Look at that. Already carrying that front section of that bushbuck, and she's made off with it, leaving Thandi to now follow. That was classic. I think there must be still a bit more meat there, because now Thandi looks like she's dragging some other meat, but little Tlalamba obviously said, no, Mom, I'm not listening to you this time. I'm taking the meat and I'm going to have my share. Sorry for you. And Thandi did look a little bit like she had been told off herself. There's some other guys just coming past us. It looks like they've gone across. They went other side. And I think I might just go around and have a look if we can see them. Fascinating. Now, Minamu, generally these two wouldn't be hunting together just yet. And they generally don't hunt together at all. And what will happen is, so Thandi will go off and hunt and normally leave Tlalamba on her own. She'll go off and hunt. And then once she's killed something, she'll either return and go and fetch her, or it depends on how far away that she actually left Tlalamba. Sometimes, if she's within earshot, she could maybe just give her the contact call, and she will then come and find Mum. But normally she would have to move a little bit away. And my feeling is in this particular scenario, Mom made this kill. She went and stashed it inside that weeping wattle bush, and then she went off and called for a little Tlalamba, and she then came running to Mom, and then she led her in here to this particular area. So that's my feeling as to what's happened, and that's generally what does happen. As they get a little bit older, then they might start going with Mom, but at a moment it's almost like they do say to the cub, okay, stay there, and then they go off and they stalk and catch prey, and then from there they're within earshot, and then they call them in. So that's generally what does transpire. But well, at least we know that they're both doing very well, and both got very fat bellies. Happiness is a leopard with a fat belly. That is wonderful. So I think now we've got our gap. I should be able to start up and go around the other side, and we can maybe get a much better view on these cats, because we're the only ones in here now, so we can. I just don't want to startle Tlalamba, so I'll just start before I move. Oh, look at that. We've managed to get our way around and have a perfect view in on Tlalamba and Mum, but well, Tlalamba's got such a cute sort of alert face about her. Beautiful. I wonder, I haven't seen where her little stash is. Oh no, there it is. It's just behind her. No. Oh, Ferg's saying that there's a leopard sawing not too far from us. Maybe that's why Thandi's got her ears bent back like she's quite irritated. It's not because of us. She's just done that now. I didn't hear that sawing because I've got a game drive vehicle radio in my ear, which I need to be listening to as well, because there might be other people wanting to come and see these two. And she looks quite concerned now that she did hear that, even though she seems like she's going off to sleep. Those ears tell 1,000 words. And anybody that does have a little cat at home, you can watch them, and they exhibit almost identical behavior to that of a leopard, and lions as well. You can see them when they're irritated, how they swing their tail from side to side. They also put their ears back, and very often, just before they're about to pounce, you can see their tail going from side to side, and as it starts going up and down, that is an imminent pounce or an imminent charge. And we will also watch that kind of body language when we're out walking on bush trails. You need to be very careful. You watch the cat's body language, and if a cat starts swinging its tail like that, you obviously would take a response towards, just to try to diffuse it, and you can maybe just talk to the cat or try to back out or whatever, but you need to realize what the cat is about to do. It's quite similar with elephants. They often swing their leg from side to side, and if you see an elephant that's totally focused on you and he starts to swing his front foot backwards and forwards, a charge is imminent. So those are the kind of little clues and body language signs that you need to watch. And as I was saying, with those ears just going a little bit back, that's a bit of irritation, and probably listening to that sawing that Ferg heard. Almost to our north, back towards Cheetah cut line. Are we hearing a little pearl-spotted owlet calling now? Beautiful. It's that time of the evening, eh? And there's lots of birds making alarm calls here. I think it might be because of these cats. So the tweet, 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 tweet. They often do that for snakes and for predators. All these little birds trying to come and mob these cats and get rid of them. Tlalamba, feeling a bit sleepy. You've got lots of food in your belly, so I wouldn't be surprised. You also went off on a little adventure on your own, trying to see if you could catch a steenbok. That's it. Practice makes perfect. So, I haven't actually worked out Tlalamba's spot pattern just yet. I think I saw 4 on her right side. Is it 4 or 5? Not quite sure. Very clear 4, but there might be another one that's just merging in there to make it 5 on the right-hand side. Let's check the other side when I get a clear view on it again. Need to write it in on all my spot patterns. Thanks, James Richard. You're saying that it seems to be a 5-5 spot pattern. So that's pretty much the same as her mum. And, well, sometimes, and as James Richard has said there, it seems to be coming through because sometimes you can have merged dots that look as one, and then as they grow, they start to sort of separate a little bit. And you can have slight changes in the coloration. So, but it seems like, as you've said, that it's merging into or growing into a 5-5 spot pattern. So same as her mum. No, what am I saying? Not 5-5. Mummy's 3-3. Shudulu's 5-5. Thandi is 3-3. So she's got now 2 more on either side than mum, it seems. Yeah. Hey? Yeah. Sorry, I was just chatting to Ferg. I don't know if something came through there, but oh, Ferg's saying that there's a leopard sawing again. I missed that. So my ears aren't. I'm listening to these birds. They're all super ears Ferg here in the back. But that's why we're a good team. And like he was spotting the birds earlier, and he's gone from fisherman, super fisherman, to super ears. Well, a super cameraman. Cameramen can be superheroes too, you know. Well, we've got 2 super cats, but they're super sleepy. Kirsten saying sometimes. I think that was about the camera operators. Well, we're all part of a super team, I would say. All got to fulfill our little roles, as these cats also need to do in the greater scheme of things. Right, and as Kirsten says, it's time to send you from a super sleepy cat to a super bushwalk team. So, so these leopards, hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised if a hyena does make an appearance, that Thandi would take this kill up a tree. But speaking of being up a tree, I wonder what's going on with Taylor. Well, thanks, Taylor. Yep, and we'll see you back at camp. It's that time of the evening, getting a little bit dark now, and not safe to be out if you're out on foot, because these predators they're very different animals once it gets dark. So it's always a safer option to be in camp. And I always say, when that sun sets, you've got yourself sort of 45 minutes or so, and as soon as the sun sets, you should always be making your way back home. And if anything pops up in between, at least you've got yourself a little bit of time to get through. But Thandi now looks like she is going to fall over the way that she's sleeping. It's like she's half sitting up and doing a very good job of keeping her head upright while she... Oh, there we go. You can see as she opens her eyes sometimes, you can also see that nictitating membrane that cats also have. And if she, now, of course, because I've said it, and she won't be opening her eyes anytime soon. Judy, when hyenas come in, they come in probably, they do try and get in a little bit quietly, but then they barge straight in, and they've got that very classic head high bounding on their way in. And you will see Thandi move from this position to flying up a tree in a microsecond. She will very quickly know exactly what's going on. And you will see Tlalamba just disperse. She will probably bail straight for the closest tree and be going straight up it. Because if a hyena gets hold of her, she's dead meat. So she also needs to react exactly like Mom would. And if she has that grass rustling on the way towards her, she needs to move it. Otherwise, she could be as dead as that little bushbuck there. So she's done well up until now. And the one, it was a couple of weeks ago, I was actually sitting with them, and they had a steenbok kill. And Thandi kept on bringing it down onto the ground because Tlalamba wasn't very good at feeding on it in the tree itself. She kept on taking the steenbok out of the fork of the tree, holding it in her mouth and putting her body in the fork of the tree and then hanging there. She looked quite awkward. But then, she was almost dropping the food all the time. And, everyone, it's just getting to that time of the evening. You can see how grainy it's getting on the screen itself. We're losing light, so we're going to switch over to infrared. There we go. There we go. You see, so the infrared, that is our night vision. Now, I don't need to put any spotlight on them, and we can continue viewing in plain light like that. So Tlalamba was up that tree, and she almost looked like she was dropping it all the time. And so Thandi went over and took the meat down onto the ground, and there was obviously a hyena waiting for exactly that. It was just off in the periphery, and so they both started feeding on the steenbok, and this hyena came bounding in, and immediately Thandi grabbed that meat and went straight up the tree, and Tlalamba ran off to the closest tree that she was near to, and she went straight up into the fork of that, and so they were both well off the ground. And then the hyena just walked around a few times and then disappeared. Then later, everything calmed down again. Thandi came down. She brought the meat down again for Tlalamba to feed on. And, of course, the hyena just came running in, and they did exactly the same again. So it was a little bit like Groundhog Day. But it seemed like Thandi kept on taking it onto the ground so that Tlalamba could eat properly, because she wasn't really feeding nicely up in the tree. So I think that's one skill that she does still need to learn, unless she's learnt it in the interim, because they do learn very fast. But at that stage, she was not very adept at feeding up in the tree. And so Thandi had to keep bringing it down, but in so doing, exposing themselves and attracting hyenas, which is not ideal. And at the moment, it's the same story. They've got this meat and it's on the ground, but that does expose them to hyenas. And and we've still got the same leopard. Well, we've got two, but they're not very active just yet. But, well, I'm just sitting here hoping that maybe there will be something. I'm not hoping that a hyena comes running in to steal their food, but I'm just hoping that something happens here. Nothing might happen, but it's been a while since I did see Thandi and Tlalamba, so I'm not going to be going anywhere just yet. I think we'll be staying here till the end, because they might have a feed, they might do something for us, and, well, even if they do nothing, it's still wonderful to be in their presence. And, I might not see them for another month. So I'm just making the best of it. And obviously you see that reflection in their eyes. That's just from this infrared. They're not seeing any light at the moment. It's totally dark, but it's this very special light that reflects into the back of their eyes, this infrared light. that makes it possible for us to see them in the dark. So if I look away from our little screen here in the front, I can't even see Thandi or Tlalamba. It's quite fascinating and wonderful, actually, that you can actually do that. And I don't need to shine the light on them. So you always notice when the other game drive vehicles come, and then you notice their spotlights, because they obviously don't have the luxury of being able to look at the little screen like I do. And why would you want to come on safari anyway and stare at a little screen? You might as well stay at home. So they're sitting in the back of the vehicle, and they need to use that spotlight to show everyone what they're looking at. And so you do try not to shine straight in their face. You try and bounce the light off the ground. And sometimes, but it's a debatable subject. There's some guys that say, put on this blue filter. It doesn't affect the animals as much. Some of the guys say red filter. Some of the guys say that the white doesn't make a difference, and putting on these different filters doesn't make a difference at all. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not sold on any of the topics. I just think that not shining any of those lights directly in their face is the best bet. Oh, Thandi's up. What's she noticed now? It's always a bit of a worrying type of, concentration that she seems to do, especially when you're around a kill like this. There is a little bit of a breeze, and the smell of this carcass can be drifting, and hyenas will pick it up. So will jackals. So it's only a matter of time before some scavengers do start to make their way into this area. And it's that time of the night that they'll be lurking, they'll be active, and they'll be walking around trying to smell for things and meat, and fresh meat, or even rotting meat, or any kind of meat. They are extreme carnivores. So hyenas are on the prowl, and it's, sooner or later they're going to get found out. Thandi, you're going to have your wits about you, because you're just leaving this meat on the ground. I know why you're doing it, but you're leaving yourself exposed to hyena. So you can't go fully to sleep. Katie, that's an interesting one to say. Yeah, night vision goggles should be provided to guests. I agree with you, Katie, absolutely. But they don't come cheap. But that's a good idea. I really like that. Another thing that is also starting to make its way in, but it's only the top-end lodges. I think King's Camp, which is probably one of the, if not the most expensive lodge around. And I also know there's another couple of very expensive lodges that host celebrities and all the very rich people. They have also started to test electric Land Rovers and game viewers. So you're totally silent, and you don't make all the startup noise and so on. I know that it's in its infancy once again, because you need the torque and the power for 4x4ing, etc. But I know that they're getting there, and that would then be the ultimate. Imagine having an electric game viewer with night vision goggles and drones that, but you see, where do you draw the line? But I think that night vision goggles and electric vehicles, those two, there's not really anything ethical about that we need to worry about. And I think it could definitely be applied. But as I say, for now, quite expensive, both the electric vehicles and the night vision goggles. So very good potential for the high-end lodges, but take a while to trickle down to the sort of more budget type experiences. And like, especially for locals, South Africans, it's not as easy to go and experience wildlife anymore in South Africa, unless you're earning yourself a good salary and all of that. It's quite an expensive affair. So, and then, they can't really afford, your average Joe Bob can't afford to go to any of these expensive lodges. So it's always going to be just your general vehicle and And yeah, not night vision, you're going to have the spotlight. So, but sooner or later, hopefully it trickles through. But even those budget-type safaris, they're also assisting massively in conservation as opposed to hunting. It would be a much better line if we could make all the money through that. Yeah, there's all different angles of conservation, and some people agree with all of them, some not. And there's lots of different opinions, but that's what they are. We're all entitled to them. Anyway, we're not going anywhere. Neither are these cats for now. I will let you know as soon as something happens. But let's head you off to Rafiki Dave, who's also on the prowl. Well, there is no change here. Maybe just slightly in the pace that Thandi is breathing. Her breathing seems to have slowed a little bit. So she is looking a lot more comfortable and looking like she's fading into a deeper sleep. But she needs to keep her wits about her because, like I said, there could be some hyenas lurking, and I'm sure they're going to pick up on the smell of this open carcass, which is lying here, and the blood that has been spilt of this young bushbuck. So both Thandi and Tlalamba are very happily lazing here in the grass. And, well, Tlalamba still got her little prize of the head of the head and neck area of the little bushbuck. You could maybe just make it out behind her there. There's her spots. You can only just make her out as well. She's also now drifted off completely. And I could just see the meat there a little bit earlier in the light, but it's not very easy now. No, it's not very easy under this kind of conditions. But it is there just behind Tlalamba. So she'd be guarding that. I wonder if Mom comes, if she's going to react the same as Mom did when she came to get the meat. But if it's a hyena, they're going to scatter. Hopefully, Thandi gets the meat before. But at least they've both had a very good feed anyway. So regardless of if they get chased off this meat, they've pretty much had their fill. It would just be nice for them to sleep off some of this meat, maybe go to the toilet, and then they could feed again. So, it's a couple of meals in it. Whereas now they've had a full meal, maybe a little bit more than that, and then they could extend that life of this carcass a little bit further. It's big enough to feed these two cats for a couple of times. So, but I wonder when we're going to see you two again. Are you going to make your way back to Buffels Hoek and Gwari Pan Road? Or are you going to hang around here on Chitwa? My feeling is you're going to finish this and you're going to head back that way. But you never know, everyone. It all remains to be seen. Tomorrow morning, I have a feeling we might get lucky and they're here, but I have a feeling they're not going to be. They're going to either get chased off here by hyenas or they're just going to voluntarily move off on their own. Now, we are starting to head towards the end of the show, and it's been another wonderful day's safari. We're heading towards full moon, so it's going to be a lovely, warm and bright evening. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's actually very beautiful. The sun is completely set, and I would just want to say thanks to all the guides that were out today, Rafiki Dave, and to Taylor out on foot. Thanks to all the ladies and guys in FC, and thanks to all, of course, the cam ops, especially mine, who was very good today, and most of all, thanks to you, the viewers, that makes this all possible. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another safari. Goodbye for now, everybody, and have a nice evening.